She walked into a billionaire's mansion to rob him blind. That was the plan. Her brother had given her one job, and she had 7 days to do it. What nobody knew, not even her, was that the man in the wheelchair had already run her name through a criminal database. He knew exactly who she was, and he hired her anyway. Her name was Vivian, 26 years old, no resume, no references, no plan except survival. 3 years earlier, her life had looked different. Not good, but different. She had a home, she had a mother who was healthy, she had a brother named Darius who she trusted completely. Then, one night, everything changed. Her mother collapsed. Vivian had gone out. She was not there when it happened. By the time the ambulance came, it was late, too late to prevent the damage. Her mother survived, but she has been in a hospital bed ever since. Darius never let Vivian forget it. "It's because of you," he told her again and again. "You were supposed to be home. You were supposed to take care of her." Vivian believed him. That was the problem. She believed him so completely that she stopped questioning anything he told her to do. If he said steal, she stole. If he said lie, she lied. She told herself it was all for her mother's medical bills. She told herself she had no choice. That is what guilt does to a person. It does not just break you, it makes you easy to control. And Darius was very good at control. The day everything changed started inside a jewelry store. Vivian had been sent there to take a necklace. Small job, quick. She had done it before, but this time the store manager caught her before she could even look at the display case. "Get out," the manager said. "We don't serve people like you here." She had not even touched anything. The manager had looked at her worn clothes and made a decision in 3 seconds. Vivian stood her ground. She asked a woman nearby for help. The woman looked away. Then the manager accused her of stealing a necklace that had disappeared from the display. She had not taken it. She did not even know it was gone. But nobody in that store was interested in the truth. And then something unexpected happened. A man in a wheelchair, sitting quietly near the entrance, watched everything. He did not say a word until the manager demanded Vivian empty her pockets. Then he spoke. His name was Elliot Ward, the owner of the jewelry chain. He had been sitting in his own store, unrecognized, watching how his staff treated customers. It was something he did occasionally, a quiet test. The manager failed it immediately. "You're fired," Elliot said simply. The manager tried to argue. Elliot did not engage. He just told his assistant it was time to go. Tomorrow was an important day. Vivian walked out of the store with nothing. No necklace, no money, and a brother waiting at home who would not accept failure. When she told Darius what happened, he was not angry, he was thinking. "The man in the wheelchair," he said slowly. "I heard he is looking for a caregiver." Vivian looked at him. "You go and get that job," he said. "You get inside that house, and then you clean him out." She tried to say she had no experience, no resume, no way to compete. Darius told her to put on a good dress and do what he said. She did, but this is where things started to move in a direction Darius could not predict. The interview at the Ward mansion was not what Vivian expected. There were other candidates, experienced ones, a decorated firefighter, a woman with a list of well-known clients. Vivian had nothing on paper. She told Elliot she could not give him a resume, but she could tell him who she was. She was fast, she paid attention, she noticed things other people missed. He hired her. The other candidates left. His assistant pulled him aside immediately. "She has nothing, no experience. Why her?" Elliot looked at the door she had just walked through. "Because I want to get married," he said. His assistant stared at him. Elliot had been talking to a woman online for over a year. They had never exchanged photos, they had never met. But in that time, something real had grown between them. He had not told her about the wheelchair. He did not know how. He was not good at openness. He had learned 7 years ago that vulnerability could destroy you. 7 years ago, on the morning of his wedding, he had been in a car accident. He woke up in a hospital bed. His fiancée stood beside him for exactly one conversation. The doctor said he would never walk again. His fiancée said she had signed up for this, and she left. Right there. While he was still in the bed, she left. He had not tried again since. Now there was this woman online, and Elliot believed, somehow, that Vivian's honesty and directness were exactly what he needed. Not as a partner, as a teacher, someone to help him learn how to stop hiding. What he did not know yet was that Vivian had come to his house to rob him.
What Vivian did not know yet was that Elliot already knew her past. His assistant had run her name through a police database the night of the interview. The record came back with more than one entry: theft, fraud, a life that looked, on paper, like a pattern of choices that all pointed in one direction. Elliot read the report. He sat with it for a long time. Then he hired her anyway. He did not tell her. He did not confront her. He just watched. Inside the mansion, Vivian moved carefully at first. She noted exits. She studied the display cases. She took photographs of the jewelry on her phone when she thought no one was watching. The assistant saw her. He said nothing to her directly. He went to Elliot. Elliot told him to wait. Meanwhile, Vivian was being pulled in two directions at once. On one side, Darius was calling every night, pushing, demanding, reminding her about their mother's hospital bills, using guilt the way he always had, like a tool he kept sharp. On the other side, Elliot was not what she had expected. He was not arrogant. He was not cold. He was quiet and careful, and when he spoke to her, he spoke like she was a person worth speaking to. She had not been treated that way in a long time. Maybe ever. One afternoon, she found him in the room where he kept the wedding rings. 2 rings, still in their box, untouched for 7 years. She had not meant to walk in on something private, but he did not send her away. He told her the story of the accident, the hospital, the woman who left. He told it simply, without drama, the way someone tells a story they have made peace with, even if the wound never fully closed. Vivian said it was not his fault. She said the woman had not deserved him. Elliot looked at her for a moment. "That is why I hired you," he said. "I need help preparing for a real date. I need to learn how to stop running from the conversation I am afraid to have." Vivian felt something shift in her chest. She did not have a name for it yet. She called Darius that night and told him she needed more time. He told her she was running out of it. He reminded her what happened when she disappointed him. He reminded her about their mother. She said she understood. She did not sleep. The next morning, Darius arrived at the address where he believed Vivian still lived. He wanted to check in on her, or rather, he wanted to control her. He knocked on the door. The man who answered was not Vivian. He was her former neighbor. He told Darius that Vivian had not lived there for 3 years. She had moved out, gotten a job, and left her old life behind. He said it was a good thing. Darius stood on the doorstep and felt the ground shift under him. He had told Vivian for 3 years that their mother's suffering was her fault. He had sent her to steal. He had used her guilt as a leash, and she had been pulling herself out of that life quietly, without telling him the whole time. Darius did not go home. He went to find her. Back at the mansion, the plan had already begun to fall apart.
Darius had also been in contact with someone who had connections inside the house. He had a backup plan. If Vivian would not cooperate, he would find another way in. He had planted evidence, framed the assistant, a loyal man named Marcus, to be found with stolen rings in his pocket. The idea was that Marcus would be fired, suspicion would fall away from Vivian, and the job could be finished cleanly. Marcus stood in Elliot's office with the rings in his coat and could not explain how they got there. "She put them there," Marcus said. "She has been photographing the collection since her first week. She came here to rob you." Vivian stood in the corner of the room. She could have stayed quiet. She could have let Marcus take the blame and continued the plan. Darius had given her a way out. She did not take it. "He is telling the truth," she said. The room went still. She told Elliot everything: the brother, the plan, the jewelry store, and why she had really been there that day. She told him about her mother and the hospital bills and 3 years of being told that every bad thing that happened was her fault. She told him she had started to believe there was no other way to live. She did not ask him to forgive her. She just told him the truth. Elliot was quiet for a long time. Then he looked at Marcus and told him he was not fired. Then he looked at Vivian and said, "I already knew." She blinked. "I ran your background before I hired you," he said. "I knew what the records said, and I hired you anyway, because the woman I watched stand her ground in that store was not the same woman those records described. I wanted to see which one was real." Vivian did not say anything. Her eyes filled, but she did not look away. "I am sorry," she said. "I know," he said. Darius was picked up 2 blocks from the mansion. The police had been called. The framing of Marcus had left a trail of evidence that pointed directly back to him. He had also, as it turned out, been taking the money he told Vivian was going to their mother's treatment and betting it on horses. Their mother had been receiving far less care than Vivian believed. The guilt she had carried for 3 years had been built on a lie. When Vivian found out, she did not fall apart. She was done falling apart for things that were not her fault. She went to the hospital the next day. She sat beside her mother's bed for 2 hours. She held her hand and did not talk about Darius. She just stayed. Her mother squeezed her hand once and closed her eyes. That was enough. In the weeks that followed, Elliot's online relationship became something real. He told the woman he had been messaging about the wheelchair. She did not leave. She said she had been afraid to tell him something too, and now she felt like they could finally be honest with each other. Vivian stayed on as his caregiver officially, but the role had changed. She helped him prepare. She pushed him to say the things he was afraid to say. She was direct in the way only someone who had learned the cost of silence can be direct. Marcus never mentioned the incident again. He had the kind of loyalty that does not require explanations. And Darius, in a jail cell waiting for trial, had a lot of time to think about the difference between using someone and loving them. He had confused the two for a very long time. Some people mistake guilt for love. They use it the same way, to keep people close, to keep people obedient, to keep people from leaving. But guilt is not love. It builds nothing. It only holds people in place while life passes them by. Vivian had spent 3 years frozen in a story that was never fully true. The moment she told the truth herself, out loud, in a room where it cost her everything, she finally became free. If you know someone who has been carrying guilt that was never theirs to carry, this story was for them. Like and subscribe. There is another one is also coming soon.